Here. Gatus.
Here.
Kopay. Here. Uhas.
Here.
DeCenzo.
Here.
Squires.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Sarbasak. Presentations.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. There's going to be 2 presentations next week, and just a reminder, in January is the school director recognition.
Okay, thank you. Addendum items, regular board meeting, hearing of the citizens, regular board meeting, information items.
There's one informational item, policy 610, 611, 626. It all deals with different types of bids have been updated to reflect the new pricing thresholds for purchases subject to bid quotation that become effective January 1st this year, 2025. The new amount for purchases subject to public bid is $23,800, and the new amount for purchases subject to written or telephonic price quotation is $12,900. That
Thank you.
completes the informational items.
Thank you, Dr. Solomon. Board Secretary's report.
Thank you, Mr. Squires. We have 4 items this evening. Number 1 is executive sessions from November and December. Approval of minutes from November and December, and 2 resolutions, 2025-1 and 2025-2.
Any questions?
So I'll quickly address numbers 3 and 4 if the board would so indulge me. The Act 1 index, the limit for this year is 5.5%. Based on our millage rate of 26.5691 mills that we currently have, the 5.5% maximum that this would limit us to would be 1.4613 mills. Resolution 2502, that money is new money that was in the state budget this year. The total for us is $707,756.67. So just rounding about $707,000, just to let you know the magnitude of those dollars. And then there's a limitation on what it can be used for is within the resolution itself. There are 5 separate things that we're permitted to be able to use it for. The last one is maybe perhaps the easiest one, debt reduction. We certainly have more than $700,000 worth of debt that we pay each year.
Thank you, Mr. Weir. And this is a one-time from the governor's budget that the state awarded, so this wasn't in the general education funds where it would be something we could kind of expect annually. This was kind of a one-time gift.
This was given through the e-grant system, not so much the budgeting system.
Yes, so, you know, claims are that it's going to continue, but there's nothing that is concrete about that, yes.
Okay, thank you. Director of Finance and Operations report.
So under A, Finance, numbers 1 and 2 are refunds. 1 is from December, 2 is from January. If you've been coming, you've noticed we haven't had as many refunds hitting as we had the previous year. However, this December one is rather large, and $280,000 that we're going to be giving back over the course of 3 years, 22, 23, and 24. If you're wondering where the biggest and heaviest hitters are, Walmart through the 3 years is about $142,000 out of that 280, so about half. Also Paramount Plaza, which is includes Giant Eagle and I suppose Home Depot, that plaza there, that's about $53,000. So there's some pretty sizable tax refunds that we're going to be giving back. And again, I probably sound like a broken record to some folks, but that common level ratio, as it keeps decreasing each year, just keeps hurting us more and more. The January refunds, at least in comparison to $280,000 from December, is rather negligible at only $744. We have the mileage rate reimbursement for number 3. Number 4 is tax appeal for the Rite Aid on Homeville Road. We actually will recoup about $1,600 from that one. Number 5 is another tax appeal. Unfortunately, on that one, we are going to lose $83,000 in tax refunds for prior years, and it'll be decreased this year of about $46,000. So all told, that's about $129,000 hit on that one. So not trying to be gloom and doom, just want to let you know what's going on with these particular items.
Is that a vacant building? Because I was trying to figure out what building it was. It's on Lebanon Church, right?
It is on Lebanon Church. If you're heading from, say, here towards Jefferson, it's right past that Hampton Inn.
Across from
and-
Enterprise.
Yes, so I don't know if it, I'll just be honest, I don't know if it's occupied or not, but that is the building.
Okay, thank you.
Under letter B, purchasing and contracting, we just have a couple of items at this point. We'll be asking the board to retroactively approve replacement of a damaged light pole in the high school stadium parking lot. We got 3 quotes, and McGuire Electric was the lowest. We have them starting. The reason that we did it before getting formal board approval is the pole was damaged. This time of year, you often have high winds, and then you factor in also the fact that metal behaves differently in cold weather than it does in warmer weather, and when it's been damaged, I just want to try to eliminate risks and liability on behalf of the district, and that's why we move forward with that. We have visitor management software licenses for number 2, and then our Title I services agreement that we have every year with the AIU is number 3.
Is that 2,700 total or per building? For Raptor number 2.
That's total.
So, thank you.
So I didn't bring my laptop, I usually don't. Let me check on that for you.
Thank you.
I don't want to, it does say for each of the buildings. Mr. Porter, you don't happen to recall whether that was a total or a per building cost?
I brought it up here. It is a total cost. Each one is $695.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought, and then
Sorry to make you doubt.
don't want to be telling you something that isn't correct. Any other questions on anything under number 7?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Is there for the damaged light pole, is the district paying for that or insurance company?
We are initially paying for that, but we are going, Andrews and Price is
Receiving
approaching the insurance company of the driver to get money from them to pay for this.
That's right.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Number 8, the financial reports. We have November and December that's in here because when we have the December meeting, I think that was December 4th that we had it. We did not have enough time to have full reconciliation of everything that happened in November. So that's why we have 2 months that are on here. So we have A, B, C as we normally would have. D is the same as we normally would have. Same with E. So all these things are just a little bit bigger than normal because we have November and December on here. Online sales F. I'll note that the total is a little less in the winter than we had in the fall, but that's to be expected. Then number 9, invoices, just like we typically have. I will be adding for next week's agenda the December invoices for Andrews and Price. That will be an addition on there. Any questions on number 8 or number 9?
Thank you, Mr. Word. District
Thank you.
operations, number 10.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Squires. Under district operations, we have 2 items. A, the junior high wrestling team attending the Waynesburg tournament Friday, February 7th. We're asking for approval. And also to recognize the softball boosters as well. That is all under number 10. Next, superintendent's report, number 11. We have items A through E. A being the homeschool visitors report for November and December. B, our student activities. C, fundraising. D, facility use. E, conferences as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Souls. Any questions or discussion there?
That concludes my report, Mr. President. We will deal with personnel next week, please.
Moving on to board president's correspondence, there's none for this evening. 16, executive session discussion. We had executive session prior to this meeting. We discussed personnel, labor relations, litigation, and real estate. Board reports. Committees.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Under our first committee, we'll go with buildings and grounds. First item we're going to discuss, and we'll ask Mr. Zidek to participate in the auditorium update as to where we're at.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. I checked with the remediation company today. We're on, pretty much on schedule where we're at now. We are going to get our band wing back starting the 20th, and we will be getting our tech ed hallway back the week after that. They're waiting for the computers now to come back. It's the biggest holdup right now. They are going to start the auditorium next week. They're going to start getting up in the ceiling and start taking down sound tiles and start assessing what damage is done up there and what they can do up there.
As far as things being replaced, they did replace roughly about 20,000 square feet of ceiling tile.
Yes.
New lighting through the affected areas on the first and second floor.
About 500 fixtures.
Yes, so they are working along, but we're still just in phase 1.
Yes.
So this is kind of the restoration from the fire damage. What about the actual renovation? Do we have a timeline on that?
To be done with it?
Yeah.
No. I asked him if we're going to have our auditorium ready for our March.
The March
festivities.
15th
He said he does not think so at this point.
Okay. And is the restoration and the renovation happening simultaneously? In other words, are they getting the ceiling tiles and everything at the same time? They're putting in new flooring? Or are we waiting until it's all clean, taken care of before we can start kind of back at square one?
I think the floor and all that's waiting on insurance companies to settle that part of it. I think what they just did now was phase 1, just to get the students back in the building, which is what they did. They took a lot of the odor causing stuff down so we could get the students back.
Yeah.
And that's right now where we're at. We're just getting the lights finished up in the classrooms that we don't have open yet in that band hallway and that. So they're not going back and forth, they're not doing both at the same time until the insurance company comes and does their part, is my understanding.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Zidek, did we lose a lot of the chairs, the newer purchased auditorium chairs?
There was about 40 boxes that got wet. Other than that, they were never opened. They were still in the cardboard, in the plastic. Those were taken and they were put in a container truck, and they're on top of the hill by the stadium right now, just waiting. And the insurance companies have to figure out what they're going to do over that.
So we don't know.
No, we don't know if we lost them, totally lost them. No.
Okay.
And so instructionally, Mr. Souls, with that auditorium not being accessible, are we working on coming up with a plan and addressing that?
As far as the musical goes,
Yes.
we're probably looking at the middle school.
Okay.
And use it multiple days, more days than usual.
Offering more shows.
Right.
to allow for the greater audience.
Correct.
And I know that we have the middle school musical happening too. Is there,
Two
with
different-
rehearsal spaces, I know it's gonna be different times, but I just think about
That,
coordinating all that, it's gonna be
that'll
tough.
be more or less having a meeting with the music department. As of right now, they said they could have the musical in the middle school.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Did we get all the instruments and everything back?
Excuse me?
The instruments, did they all?
They just came back
They
today.
came back today, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Baseball, softball field, Mr. Zig, you want to give an update there where we're at?
I reached out today, our lights have been fixed, so our light system's good. I reached out today to Hellas, and they are awaiting the poles for the net system to be delivered. Once they're delivered, then they're going to go ahead and install from there. I believe they're looking at the 17th of the month for them to get their poles, and then they'll get them up to us, and then we'll schedule from there.
Is that the last thing that's remaining for that?
That and the backstop.
The backstop?
The high school backstop, we moved it forward. The poles are in the ground, they just haven't put the fence up yet.
Fencing?
Yes.
Okay.
There's some restoration to do on the landscaping. When they were changing the lights, they got stuck out there, they had a little bit.
Can they even do that now? I'd have to wait till the thaw.
They're probably gonna wait.
Yeah.
I told them they had like a week till it froze, and then they're probably gonna have to wait now.
We'd like to ask the committee to recommend moving forward to hiring, I believe, 14 summer workers as we've done in the past for the summer maintenance and cleaning program.
Yes.
Is that the right number?
I think that's what we had. Didn't we
I
have?
think we went for 14 last year. I don't think we keep the 14.
I thought we started with 16.
Yeah, it might have been 16. Maybe we had 14 that worked for us last year.
Yeah.
Went down,
It
yeah.
started with 16.
Yeah.
We'll go with 16. 16 summer help, we're good with starting to advertise and see if we can get those workers? Yes.
Mr. Domino? You're good with
What's that?
that? The summer workers?
Oh, yeah, no problem. I apologize.
All right, we got a quote, it was in your folder for a smoke detector in the ductwork. Would you like to explain that, Mr. Ziddick?
No, from my understanding is with code, we have sprinkler system in the auditorium, so we did not have to have a smoke detectors in there. And we feel we should have some, at least in the ductwork, on the air conditioning, so it would pick it up and shut the system down. It was just hand pulled this time is what set the fire alarm this time. And it's for, $2,300. I just think it's a smart way we should put it in the ducts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that just this building or the high school, or is that all buildings?
That's just the auditorium,
Just the auditorium?
just the auditorium.
Does our middle school auditorium have
I would
a detector?
check on that.
If it doesn't, I think we should probably look into it.
On it.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, they expect these every summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they expect.
And, I mean, this should have been feedback we should have gotten a long time ago.
Right.
I'm glad we were able to catch it before it became worse.
The last item we have under village ground is the auditorium doors. I know Firewater asked Mr. Ziddick to reach out and start getting prices for our new doors as the doors were damaged within the incident up there. So there, you're actually seeing a quote from Morrow's for quite a large amount for, I believe, what, 8 doors?
It's 8 doors, yes.
8 doors.
Yes.
But we're hopefully going to get that through the insurance.
Yeah, there was broken when they got into it. At least 2 of them were broken from them, so the insurance company said they'll definitely cover those ones. I think there were opposite ones, so we'll see where they go with that one.
Which doors are these? The ones on the side down by the stage?
No, the front.
The front doors.
Yeah.
The 8?
The double,
main
yeah, the double forward, yeah.
Okay.
The ones on the right-hand side there.
Why did they break them down?
I don't think we get in or what, but where the hinges clip on the back, that wood is all ripped right off. Some of they maybe opened it, I don't know.
Anything else for buildings and grounds?
No, thank you.
All right. Next, finance. Mr. Ware already gave an explanation of the Act 1 index. Do you want to give any update on the AFR at this time, Mr. Ware?
Yeah, I'm probably about 95% done with the AFR at this point, working with the auditors just to make sure that the cafeteria fund is going to match what they have, so we don't have a discrepancy like we had last year, because we have to do a separate financial report for child nutrition. It's called the CNFR, so I want to make sure that we're in balance with that, and once we are, we'll be submitting that, and hopefully we'll get the audit moving right after that.
Any questions for finance?
Yeah, I would like to try and schedule a finance committee meeting to just go over the 23-24 budget, what's being prepared for the auditors when we're going to look at that, see where we are on track for the 24-25, and start preparations for the budget for 25-26.
Yep, 25-26 is upon us.
It is upon us.
Yep.
If you contact the other members, or if I contact the other members of the finance committee to see what's doable with everyone.
That, I think that'd be a great idea.
Okay.
Would like to sit down with the committee.
Sounds good.
Under athletic and activities, as we talked about in executive football interviews and moving forward in that process to establish a new head coach for our football team. Also, we'll be bringing a proposal to the board, possibly making the middle school cheerleading a sport, or put it at least under the athletic and supplemental list, more than the club list. Currently, it is a club, and we feel it needs to be moved over to the appropriate spot as it is at the high school level.
Is that just 7th and 8th grade?
That's 7th and 8th grade, yes.
You know what participation is on that right now? We have a decent, I'm assuming if we're asking to do this, we get a lot of participation.
It's more.
Yeah.
I have a question on that.
Oh, go ahead.
Mrs. Costello can wait too, because she's been involved in cheerleading, but to move that into that, does it have to become a competitive?
No, that's just changing it from within the contract,
Okay.
from a club rated pay to a supplemental rated pay under the athletics.
Okay. I didn't know it had
So
to be
my
competitive.
question was about the CBA, right? That'd be an MOU?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we use the zipper clause. They have the zipper clause. Okay. Under the anything else for athletic and activities? Excuse me. Education, we have been working on the 25-26 school calendar. However, the one in your folder, I will email the correct one out. I don't understand why it didn't take, but I will get that out to you tomorrow. And also under policy, as we talked about in the informational item, policy 610, 611, 626, they do not need board approved. It is just an informational item, and we've made the changes in the policies as indicated in the information item. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Souls. Steel Center?
I'll have a report on it next week,
Okay, thank you. Solicitors
although
report?
there's no meeting this week.
No reports tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Old business?
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Ulas.
My thing is this, is I reached out to the Pennsylvania School Board Association's Legal Services, and I talked to Kristen DiFilippo, who's the Director of Legal Services for the Pennsylvania State School Board. And in my email, I talked to him, was more or less how we were handling our third-party athletic director. And I passed everything here. And basically, he sent back, thank you for reaching out to
This is a
PSBA for your
personnel
questions
issue
about
that I
employing a
think the
former
board-
teacher
Yeah,
as
Mr.
a
Evans,
This is personnel.
No, it's not.
If you want to move
No,
into
it's not.
executive session, you can make a motion to do that.
Also, this is not old business. Old business are things that,
Well, it's-
that were tabled and now are brought back up on the agenda. So this is not just like a public forum, open mic night at the Chuckle Hut.
No, I'm not saying it is, but here's the thing. We're sitting here and what
It's a
I think we
personnel
know.
issue.
It's not
So
a personnel issue.
It should be discussed in
How's
personnel.
it personnel?
You had a
He's a
chance to
third-party vendor.
You could have brought this up in personnel in executive session 35 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, that didn't end until like 3 minutes to 7, so there wasn't much time to really
I
discuss.
suppose if you had asked to have it put on the executive session agenda, then we could have allowed for additional time.
But there's some issues here.
Well, and those issues should be addressed in executive session. You don't have the ability to simply decide
Well,
unilaterally
you
to
simply just,
executive.
you just go and do what you want half the time.
No, that's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
doing.
Because there's something right
Should
here
be an
that
appropriate time for a
directly
motion
goes
to
at you.
adjourn.
So I understand your concerns, Mr. Uhas. We do have your information here. We'll review it, and we will have it on the agenda for the next executive session.
The next executive session. Why don't we just stay a little bit later back here and discuss it?
If you want to make a motion to move into executive session, you can do that. If there's a second, we would then move.
I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session to talk about it.
Mr. Uhas has made a motion to move into executive session to discuss personnel issues. Do I hear a second? Hearing no second, we will move. Does any other board member have any old business to discuss?
No.
Any new business? I actually have something here. I would like to bring back public comment for the work sessions.
No.
I wanted to see if 5 board members reject that claim, and if they do, we won't do it. If they do not, then that's fine too. I just wanted to open up for you guys to discuss.
No, I don't think we should do that.
That would
Okay,
be
so
fine.
Mr. Blazevich is against.
That would be fine with me.
Who's against? Mr. Blazevich.
I don't think so.
All right, so that's, we got 3 there.
Yeah, I think we should.
I'm good with keeping
I'm not
it the way it is.
opposed or again, I'm not opposed or for, I really am indifferent.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, so my impression here is that there's some indifference. I think we see how it goes. I want to see how it goes. If it turns into something where it's taking up a lot of time and it's becoming a deterrent from the meeting, we'll go back to the status quo and stop doing it again, as we have the past few years. But this is going back to what it has been.
What's
I just,
what's
like,
been, what's the
you're supposed to
feedback?
speak on the agenda, and this is where we're setting the agenda, so that's why I think my
Yeah.
confusion is on it. I'm not like against public comment.
Right.
I'm just
Yeah.
against, like, the purpose of public comment is to speak on the agenda, and we're still setting the agenda, so like,
So
it's
my-
kinda,
Agreed.
My thought on that is if you're discussing matters that you're going to
Yeah.
be voting on, the opportunity that the public has to do that is 5 minutes before we vote on it.
I got you, okay.
So by doing it at least the week before, you give people a chance
Okay.
to bring something up and say, hey, did you consider this? Or as you're discussing this, it might be important to remember whatever.
Okay. We should discuss it.
And in fact, I'd rather have it at the work session.
You're gonna have it
than
in
before
2
the vote.
sessions.
We have to have it.
Yes.
And then we're gonna all sit here and hear the same people say the same stuff twice.
Maybe. I know that I know that in my experience sitting in the audience, there were multiple times that people came to the work session thinking they could speak and couldn't. So, or you may have no one speaking, and I mean, we're not a district that has 50 people up at the microphone every single month.
You haven't sat there long enough.
I mean, like I said, we did used to have it this way. So I'm willing to give it a try, and I'd like to see how it goes.
You're the president, right? That
Any
doesn't have,
other-
that doesn't have to be.
It doesn't
voted on.
have to be, I just wanted to discuss it. I didn't want to unilaterally decide, and I wanted to get a pulse for where everyone's at. So, anything else under new business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Blazevich, second by Mrs. Ager. Meeting adjourned.
Bid for that.
Judy.